Testing. Well, I don't see. This is something YouTube's been doing lately, where the image, there was about a 6-second delay before it said I was live, before it actually showed what I was trying to display. So that was interesting. I'm just gonna stream this game real quick because I wanted to try it out just for fun, and then I might start another stream and do a little bit of World of Warcraft. But for right now, we're gonna try some Honkai Impact. Let's do it up. And I'm sure the audio will be way too loud. These anime type games, oh, what a surprise, are always really loud. Looks like we're going up an elevator. You gotta love this old style, like, anime artwork, though. Hey, welcome back, Shady Hacks. Sweet. Ooh, I like the sound. UFO. We're being attacked by UFOs. Aliens. Whoa. Nice butt view. Did she just destroy an F-16 with her foot? Like, what the hell? Whoa. Okay. And the attack button is strangely enough the J key. Because everybody uses the J key for attack, right? Whoa, my goodness. Well, we're stretching the limits of my hand here by using the J key for combat. Nice. This is really hard with using K, J, and I for combat. Oh my god. And how do you go to, like, the menu? Whoa. Trying to figure out how to actually... I give him credit. I mean, it's a cool fighting game. Cool graphics, no doubt about that. If only the keybinds weren't so effed up. This would be actually kind of fun. Okay, then there's that. I know. Well, the worst part about this game is I can't get to the menu. Here, let's Alt-Tab out for a second, because that was really annoying. You can't even get to a menu. So what was the name of this game? Honkai. Let's look up Honkai. Impact. Controls. Okay, so it says there's a gear in there. I don't know if I really saw a gear. Where's the gear? You can, yeah, this is very mobile. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get to any kind of a menu that will allow me to rebind these. That is like a really... The sound is so loud. The sound is so loud, you can't get to any kind of menu to turn the sound down. I just want a simple way. Anyway, I'm not going to bother with it. It's not the kind of game I would play for. I mean, this is very much like a console game, you know. I wanted to check it out, but yeah, that is not the type of game I would. I mean, if the controls were good, Reptilian, if the controls were good, maybe after tutorial, I don't know. If I want to play that game again, I'll Google it and find a website that shows me how to at least get to the menu. It says actually, if that was just maybe that was just the tutorial, you're right, and maybe after the tutorial. But it's so hard playing through the tutorial, and I saw enough to where it's not something I probably would want to play, even after the tutorial. And I rebinded, I'm not sure I'd want to play it. I did like the art style though. The art style, and it was smooth, and the world and everything was smooth, but it was limited. Like when I moved to the edges of the screen, there were boundaries and stuff. So yeah, so I did want to bring this up, and I thought this was a pretty cool video.
Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite RPGs of the last several years. Back when it released, I know life through Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, and Nier Automata pretty much consecutively. And let me tell you, those were an amazing few weeks. Ever since having completed Horizon though, I was left kinda wondering if and or when they would go about announcing a sequel. I mean, be honest here, for those of you that have played this game, this is far too great of a journey to not actually have one, right? But Styx, I thought you were here to talk about the Horizon MMO. Shh. It's okay, I'm getting to that, don't worry. Now, Guerrilla Games, the developers behind Zero Dawn, haven't exactly hidden the fact that they're actively working on Horizon Zero Dawn 2, as over the last couple weeks, the studio has been in the process of looking for...
Yeah, and it was MMO Byte. This is where I learned about this. I think he doesn't realize, I think MMO Byte doesn't realize that this video is unlisted. Because notice there's only 2 likes. There's like no views.
So I'm a huge fan of RPGs.
There's 13 views. It says it's unlisted, which is strange to me. The only person who's responded to this video is me. But
Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite RPGs of the last several years.
So
developer.
Horizon Zero Dawn is like one of those games, Reptilian, that I don't have a PlayStation 4. I had the last time I played any PlayStation was PlayStation 1, and I don't play console games much. I play mostly, PC games. But Horizon Zero Dawn was so cool looking that I actually almost went out and bought a PS4 just so I could play it. I didn't because it's just, I don't like controllers. I like keyboard and mouse. I've been using them for so long. But he's talking about here, remember I was talking about here that they're talking about that Guerrilla Games, and I'm a big fan of Guerrilla Games. I mean, Guerrilla Games has made The Last of Us, I think, also, didn't they? And they've made other games that, was it Guerrilla Games that did Last of Us? I think it was. But they're just a really good development company. They did Horizon Zero Dawn, Killzone, what else? Shell Shock, Speedboat. I thought they did bigger games than that. Killzone, I guess, was one of their big games. Yeah. So 2017 Horizon Zero Dawn. Before that, they did Killzone Shadowfall. So they were mostly Killzone on PlayStation 3. But they are a good gaming company, and I've seen some of their videos of the developers and stuff, and they're pretty cool. Yeah, speaking of it, yeah, but like I said, Reptilian, I like MMO Byte too, because I love MMOs. So, and he's probably the best person who just constantly is putting out videos on MMOs. And what I like about his channel is he shows us lots of stuff that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have played probably Justice Online. Actually, it wasn't him that gave me Justice Online. It was someone else. Someone else had a tutorial on how to actually play Justice Online. But he's the one who just got me to try this game that I was trying now. But even if the controls were keybound, I wouldn't play the game for very long. But I never played Killzone. But if Horizon Zero Dawn,
behind Zero Dawn haven't exactly hidden the.
If these guys create an MMO version of Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm totally sold because I am a big fan of Guerrilla Games.
Fact that they're actively working on Horizon Zero Dawn 2, as over the last couple weeks, the studio has been in the process of looking for, quite aggressively I might add, new team members to fill out their ranks. Among the positions you're attempting to fill are keywords like dramatic storytelling, RPG
dramatic
games,
storytelling,
and open world, which is honestly nothing unusual. These are, after all, core aspects of what made Horizon Zero Dawn such an absolute pleasure to play through, and honestly are kind of basic things to look for when you're attempting to either recruit new team members or expand your current team, especially on the scale of a Horizon game. However, this is where things actually get a little bit more interesting. See, according to the job listing, they're looking specifically for someone that is capable of pushing the boundaries of dramatic storytelling in open world games. Furthermore, it would be beneficial if the person or people in question have extensive knowledge of stories and narrative design in open world RPG games, online games, and you guys guessed it, MMORPGs. Yep, and there we have it. This right here is what you're all here for. It was this little bit of information in specific that has caught MMO fans all around the world completely off guard. Why are they looking to fill out their team with developers who have experience in online games and MMORPGs? Horizon Zero Dawn is nothing like an MMO, nor did it, to my knowledge at least, have any kind of online functionality with regards to other players. The game was a 100% completely solo RPG. The game was tackled alone, it had no drop-in features that allowed you to do anything with another player, nothing. Does this mean that they have plans on adding online multiplayer functionality to the sequel then, allowing for players to play through the game cooperatively? Who knows, maybe they'll adopt a system akin to the pawn system in Dragon's Dogma. Or maybe they're instead looking to create something completely unrelated to Horizon Zero Dawn, opting for a brand new IP with a focus on online play. Maybe they're just looking to expand their focus a little bit. I know that this is a little bit presumptuous, I do, but with all of the different gaming news websites, all the different MMO websites running this information, how could I not talk about it? Not only do I love the Horizon Zero Dawn franchise, or just single games since there's only one of them at present, but this could also simultaneously be some of the greatest news this year. It could, no joke, be one of the greatest things to hit the MMO scene.
One thing that's funny about MMO Byte, he definitely gets excited. He goes in there and he's like, "This could be the greatest." In his video titles, he's like an old school, like a London newspaper person, because he does these really big, bold video titles. Like, wait, what? Horizon? He's trying to be eye catching, and it works. He's got quite a few subscribers. I think he should get more. But yeah, if Horizon Zero Dawn went with if Guerrilla Games created an MMO, I would be very happy about that, because they're pretty good with storytelling. Who was it who made The Last of Us? Last of Us, because those guys are really good. It was made by Naughty Dog, yeah. So Naughty Dog Studios, they're another one that's one of my favorite video game companies. And if Naughty Dog Studios would come up with like a story-based MMORPG, that would be super cool. So guys, I need what should I play? I mean, I could play. I don't know if I want to play Albion. I don't really feel like playing Dragon's Dogma. I don't want to play Smite, Invictus. These are just the games I have in my Steam account. Uh, I, I don't have this. What is this? Dungeons Defenders? I don't remember having that. Of course, I have Skyrim. Dark, Kurtzspell. Most of these games I wasn't really a big fan. Outward I played for all of like an hour, and I found the controls to be just terrible. Good game, but bad, really bad controls. I don't like it when they make, yeah, Naughty Dog's a good gaming company. I don't like it when they make video games with like console-based controls. You know, it's like if it's a PC game, it should be very PC friendly, and if it's a game on PS4, it should be a game that's set up for a controller. If you're gonna make it, if you're gonna take a controller-based game that was on a PS4 first, and you're gonna put it on PC, please make it so that it's very friendly to keybinds on a PC. I hate it when they don't do that. It's really annoying. In my opinion, it's very unprofessional. You know, this one is something that I've been kind of wanting to try. It's a card game, but let me go to the community hub. It always looked like it could be fun. I think it got good reviews. Let's go to the store page. It's mostly positive, but it just, and I don't really play it. The only card games I'd ever really played was Hearthstone. But it just looked kind of cool, you know. I guess because it was pretty fantasy based, you know. But just looking at it, I probably these types of games I can only play like literally by myself for like about an hour, and then I get bored of them. Okay, so the games I have installed right now: Dragon's Dogma. We got Neverwinter's pretty fun. Oh, I see a lot of people are saying if you're a console gamer, that's what people do. They like, but I think what they should do is if they take a game that's on the PS4 and put it on the PC, they should make it friendly for both. I mean, make it friendly for the people who've already been playing on the PS4, and then also incorporate a good user interface to allow PC gamers who aren't really console gamers like myself to use more regular keyboard and mouse controls. Um, update queued. Reign of Darkness. Let's update this guy. This game had some possibilities. This is like really like 2 or 3 guys working on this game, and I wouldn't mind. It just like had a lot of stuff that needed to be worked out. You know.
Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back for some more MMORPG goodness. Today we are looking at a small indie game in.
I lost my video. Where'd it go? Where did his video go? Oh, that kind of sucked. Go to store page. Maybe it was on the store page. No. But I've talked to this developer a little bit. Here it is.
Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back for some more MMORPG goodness. Today we are looking at a small indie game in early access that was released literally a few days ago at the time of this recording. I want to give my first impressions of the game because I do think it deserves some exposure. The game is called Reign of Darkness, which sounds like a My Chemical Romance song, but it's anything but. The game is gritty, atmospheric, hardcore, and definitely old school. So let's find out if you should give Reign of Darkness your time. Is also going to be rather small, so don't expect there to be thousands and thousands of players on the game. At least just yet. Wink wink. Alright, you got it? Good. Let's get into it. Reign of Darkness.
Playing his Diablo music, they're good. Yeah, the problem with Reign of Darkness is, I mean, it's got possibilities, but the graphics are pretty mediocre. You can see he's actually got mounts, but all of the animations are really, really bad. I mean, this guy's obviously not an animator, but it's really I think it's just like two developers that made this game. So, you can't be too harsh on them. It's, the guy's a really nice guy. I talked to him a couple times. And gave him some feedback. I actually streamed this game one time, and he came over and was watching me stream it and was talking with me about it. And he was super cool, and he was kind of telling me like, things I could do in the game, things I couldn't, things they're looking to fix. So that's certainly a game that we should keep an eye out on, but I think it's a ways off from being in a very good playable state, I think. Era update queued. I'm kind of wanting to play Terra. I like Terra, and I'm kind of wanting to play Terra, to be honest. People have been asking me to play World of Warcraft, but I'm really just burned out on WoW. I mean, what really burns me out the most on World of Warcraft is really the combat. Hey, what's up, Chris? What really burns me out on WoW is just the combat because it's so pretty much lackluster. The games that I like to play are a lot more fast paced. And I always liked WoW because of it was like the second MMO I ever played. But the problem is we've been playing WoW for, 15 years now, and so many other MMOs that come out have really surpassed WoW in the combat area or in the graphical area. And it's not as big a deal with the graphics because I still go through World of Warcraft and see areas that I think are just absolutely beautiful. Every time I go to the Night Elf area or Dark Shore, I love Dark Shore, especially at nighttime. I think it looks amazing. But definitely kind of tired of the just the fact that the combat is so blasé. Now it does get better in retail, but then what happens is once you get to the retail version of the game, then you lose all the cool stuff in classic, all of that kind of the way the old school game was played. All the way the questing was, and the way there was kind of that quirkiness to the game, and they still have the quirkiness to the game, the funny quests and the neat little trinkets and stuff. But I think one of the coolest things about classic WoW was all of the neat, procs and effects of items, like effects of weapons. And you guys have seen that when I've streamed all the different times we've tried to get different weapons just to see, like, oh, this weapon says it has a chance on hit to send a shadow bolt. Well, how often will that shadow bolt actually proc? And that's a really important thing to find out because it can mean like a lot of extra damage. Interesting. They're having some issues with Terra. Says Terra players may experience technical difficulties. Let's try closing that. Try relaunching it. Looks like Terra, for whatever reason, is kind of down at the moment. Try this again. They're getting DDoS attacks or whatever. Okay. But I am curious. I'm curious about Shadowlands, the next expansion of WoW, and we'll see how that goes. I don't think it's going to be much of a success for them. I think it'll be like one of those things where people in the first couple of weeks will be raving about it, the stat squish, and how they've kind of reinvigorated the combat trees, the talent trees. I mean, with them giving you back some of the flexibility that you lost because WoW turned into basically like a mount collection freaking mobile game. It was so simplified, and it still feels, even right now when I go and play retail WoW, it feels incredibly simplistic. And the thing I've been doing over the past couple of weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks, has been playing Black Desert, and Black Desert is incredibly complex. Like, it is. I always love that opening sound effect from Enmasi. I just love that. But Black Desert is absolutely incredibly complex. And it showed me that that an MMO can be too complex, can have too much to it. Often you complain that MMOs have too many things. I'm trying to remember what character I created recently. None of these characters, so it's not this server. This one. I think someone had given me. Remember last time I played, some nice person gave me money and everything. Was asking if I was going to play, and then I ended up kind of like fading away and not playing so much because the content was nerfed. The problem with Tether, just like a lot of other MMOs, is they've nerfed the content so much. Who was it that I was playing? I think was it this one? No, this is my original character. More gosh, I created a new one though. Where I don't see her though. Oh wait, I know what it was. I had to switch the board. Which one am I on right now? I don't even. I thought this was the one I just went to, but yeah, Black Desert really shows you that like basically it's MMOs can be like too complicated. Like you can actually have. Yeah, this is not the right one. This one. It's weird how the selection doesn't show the one that you're actually on. It just always shows the select one at the top is the one that's selected. But most people would say that. No, that is the one. Shit, where's my character? I didn't delete her, did I? This was my healer. She was pretty cool. I gotta say, in the original game, healing was really, really fun. I was looking for this switch. Like, there was a button on here that actually moved. Why does this have a... This means I have options, right? Yeah, broken sales. Alright, so let's go back to this one. Yeah, Chris, you're right. I think it's like, yeah, see, this one does have it. See, it's got the pages. This is the one that I created. So, yeah, it's another expansion. They're doing stat squish, and they're doing a lot of things to kind of bring back complexity into the builds and the trees and everything. But I don't think it's going to be a big success. To me, they really need to, I think, shake things up. And what they've been doing as a company has just been trying to make money, you know. Seems a little laggy to me. Wow, it feels... Look at that running. That is not smooth running. See that? Well, maybe it's just her animation. The way she walks. For some reason, blade draw isn't working correctly. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I think with Black Desert, there was a couple videos I watched, and they were both really spot on. And it talked about the game systems in Black Desert are basically set up there to get your money. I mean, they gate like some of the things. You know, there's a really, really good one, and it's by that guy who always does Death of a Game. I'm sure you guys have seen his videos. And he's got one on Black Desert. And if you guys probably don't want to play Black Desert, if you ever thought that you might want to play Black Desert, this video and then the other one from the Lighthouse Games are really, really good.
It's not very often I cover an MMORPG where you can simultaneously hear that the game is great or perfect and that the game is pay to win or too grindy. Whatever your opinion is, it's easy to see that Black Desert Online is a controversial title. Most of these issues surrounding the company, Pearl Abyss, who develops in Cacao Games, who publishes Black Desert Online, and their aggressive monetizations. If you have no idea who I am a YouTuber who fancies himself an investigative journalist. I focus primarily on MMOs and the reasons they fail or succeed. I love a high skill ceiling MMORPG, especially one focused on Twitch/action combat. And at first glance it could seem like Black Desert Online, or BDO, is the game for me. I often get asked why I don't play Black Desert Online. Since it's easier to just make a video about it than answer the same question over and over again, I will in my normal fashion break down why I don't play Black Desert Online. Before I answer that question, however, I want to talk about the things that Black Desert Online does well. Remember, this video is not made to sway anybody's opinion.
So what he's going to go on to talk about, he's going to talk about how Black Desert has great combat, has great visuals. There's some things he doesn't talk about that much. He talks about the crafting system, but there's a lot of things that Black Desert has in it that actually is really good. I mean, the UI is you can edit the UI really easily. There's a lot of options with the graphics, which is really nice. So basically the settings, the amount of settings, the keybinds that are available to you are pretty good. They're not the best, but they're pretty good. The variety of the combat is really good. He talks a lot about how the combat's more left and right clicky. But the one thing after he goes through, which is kind of true and not true, but the one thing he talks about at first is, like I said, the graphics and stuff. But then he doesn't mention the music either. The music in Black Desert's fantastic, and the level design is really good. But then he starts talking about what he doesn't like about the game, and then he starts talking about the combat. So let's fast forward that, because that's kind of interesting. Because he said in the beginning the combat's fantastic, right?
Opinion in any particular online is undoubtedly its business model.
Okay, now he's getting things he doesn't like.
MMOs that don't also have action combat systems. So I've covered some positive aspects
let's
of
do the
Black Desert
negative.
Online, aspects that most can probably agree on. But what are my issues with Black Desert Online, and why don't I play the game? Now, the elephant in the room with Black Desert
Business
Online
model.
is undoubtedly its business model. Black Desert Online is a buy-to-play game with a cash shop, which is not entirely unheard of in the current marketplace. However, with BDO, their developer Pearl Abyss, along the way had promised the game wouldn't become pay-to-win in the West, and their publisher, Cacao Games, would often argue that Black Desert Online wasn't pay-to-win, despite a lot of people disagreeing. Now, because
I think you have to define what winning in Black Desert is. If winning in Black Desert means progression, means like you're really high level and you have learned how to do a lot of the crafting stuff and the crafting systems, and you're very skilled in those areas, then Black Desert's definitely pay to win, because you can buy so many things that increase your experience, leveling you up in all those different things I just talked about. So if you're thinking about that as being, the win, then yeah, Black Desert's definitely, there's no doubt about it, pay to win.
Because Black Desert Online only costs $9, many people argue that if it requires you to purchase 1 or 2 microtransactions, it would still ultimately fall under that full box price of $60. That's obviously wrong, as in order to be efficient in BDO, you need 5 pets, because pets are essentially the most effective way of looting. But since they are capped in how much they can loot, having the max amount, which is 5, is the most efficient way for running NPC camp to NPC camp and grinding and leveling. Most people argue that the game is best played with a Traveler's Pack, which is $20, but you still need 4 more pets, which is another $40 or so, for that added XP buff and extra auto-looting power. So in total, we've spent $9 on the game, $20 on the Traveler's Pack, $40 or so on pets, so in total, just about $70. And then you likely need a value pack.
Yeah, and that's without the costumes, because in Black Desert there's only a few, and a lot of the Asian MMOs do this. They just give you like 1 or 2. I mean, like what was it? I think even what was that martial arts one that they did also was like that. Terra's not like that so much. Terra has a lot more variety of gear, and I think one of the things that this video made me think about, and made me really think about, like really hardly, was it's a great word, hardly, was how much I thought I liked Asian MMOs and how much I realize now that I really don't like them that much, and that the things in most Asian MMOs that they focus on that they do really well are the things that I like. So it makes sense that I would like Asian MMOs, because the things that I like are nice visuals, big open worlds, and good combat systems. And when you think of some of the big Asian MMOs, you think of stuff like, Black Desert or Blade and Soul, Terra really was kind of not something. I mean, Terra was created for the West, so that's not really one. What's another big Asian one? Guild Wars 2 is not really a big Asian one either. I think that was made here first. But of course, there's games like Lineage, but that was older. But there's just a lot of Asian MMOs, like Ion was another one, that were basically released in Asia before they came to the US. And most of those games do, like Ion, big open world, beautiful visuals, pretty good combat system. Blade and Soul definitely was, big on combat. Pretty good open world, not as big as it could have been. But again, at the time, very good visuals. Black Desert was the king of this. I mean, beautiful game, beautiful combat system. But once you get past the combat system, you start seeing that all the Asian MMOs have a lot of these same systems that are built into them to basically get your money. And one of them is the fact that they don't give you a lot of gear. Like the gear in the game is kind of like, there's maybe 2 or 3 sets of gear and that's it. Well, you get bored of that. No one wants to look the same all the time. So then you end up having to buy cosmetic gear to just look different. What's another game that does this? I'm trying to think. I don't think Vindictus is like that. Vindictus doesn't really have much gear either. Let's just continue on with the video here. But I thought that was interesting that I used to think that I really liked Asian MMOs, but I've started to see, like, as I've gotten older, I've started to realize what it is they're doing. Behind the scenes, what is their goal? And their goal is to make money. And by not giving you a lot of armor, they're forcing you to buy cosmetic gear. By not giving you a lot of character slots, they're forcing you to buy more character slots. By not allowing you to delete a character instantly, that makes you then want to buy an additional character slot. A lot of the games do that. Or if you delete a lot of the Asian games, you delete the character, it has like a 24-hour wait period. Well, they do that on purpose. Yeah, I'm totally rambling, Serlin. I started playing a different game first, Cyrillian. But I couldn't quite get past the the tutorial. Yeah, but like a lot of these Asian MMOs, they really force you to, to have to buy stuff, and then they don't give you much inventory space. They don't give you much, in Black Desert wait space. But let's go ahead and let's not go into this game. I want to show you this game later, though, Cyrillian, because it's pretty funny. But let's finish this video.
Again, although the Traveler's Pack we bought has one, it expires in 30 days, and it has essential things such as inventory space, storage expansion, experience, distant node investment, max weight limit, 30% bonus to marketplace sales, collection amount, unlimited use of Mer's palette, unlimited use of the beauty salon. Pricing on this can vary, but it's basically a monthly fee of $15. All in all, you will spend at least $100 to be viable in Black Desert Online. Viable meaning you can play the game without any restrictions, and at least $15 a month for the value pack. If you want a costume to look good, which is by the way the only way you can effectively look good in the game, be prepared to spend as much as another $25, so make that $125. If you want to actually be competitive and feel like you can play a game at more than a casual level, you can reference this guide for how much money you actually have to spend in Black Desert Online. We are talking about a minimum of $200 if you want to get what you need to compete against other people. But it doesn't just stop there. If you keep spending more money, your progression and amount of money spent are a positive relationship. As you spend more money, your progression towards level 63 and beyond becomes much easier. Although one single item might not grant pay-to-win access in Black Desert Online, the obvious business focus on making people spend money on the cash shop says that the game isn't really a buy-to-play game. It's a buy-to-play game with essentially the equivalent of a microtransaction monthly fee. Except instead of just $15 a month, it can be far, far more depending on the type of whale or the aspirations of the player. If you want to be competitive in a game that the endgame is based around PvP, you're going to have to spend money or prepare to be killed over and over again. Yep, that's right. In Black Desert Online, PvP at max level is non-consensual, meaning you are permanently flagged. Permanently flagged.
Yeah, you are permanently flagged. You can be, and the thing about this game is, the thing about Black Desert, and I love Black Desert, don't get me wrong, I think it's a fantastic game. I mean, the game itself is great. And but as developers, if they went in and changed some of the game systems, they could make this game so much better, but of course then they wouldn't make as much money. The way the game is set up, it's set up to really get your money. And the people that are at the highest level, those people that are like up around 63, I guarantee you most of those people have sunk quite a bit of money into the game, or they've been playing pretty much since the game came out in 2014. And I played when the game came out in 2014, day one. So I was there when this game was launched. I loved it for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, my guilds were pushing me to play 8 hours a day every single day, grinding the mobs 8 hours a day every single day. And you guys know me, I don't have a problem grinding mobs. I love killing mobs over and over again. But doing it straight for 8 hours a day every day for like a month, yeah, it gets old. And after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, I said, look, guys, I said, this feels like another job, So I quit. And I came back recently, and I had a really good time playing Black Desert, but I started spending money on it. I started finding myself, I want to buy this like little cosmetic item, or I want to buy these cool pets because they give me some extra, life benefits to my crafting. So the next thing you know, I spent like $100, and I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. Why am I spending money on this game when I know I'm not going to play it at the highest levels of hardcore, because it would take me too long to even get there. I watched another video by Lighthouse Games, and he was saying he's been playing the game for a year and a half, and he's still not even near, he's not even like at, even halfway, maybe he's about halfway to getting the best gear in the game after a year and a half. So what, does he got to play 3 years just to get a set of gear that's like kind of like top tier gear? And that's basically the way it is, unless you are really, really good at making money, which some people are. But to be really, really good at making money, you're still sinking in a ton of time doing AFK farming, AFK fishing, AFK crafting, AFK gathering. There's lots of stuff. So then that's just, man, I don't know about you guys, but I really don't want to have my computer running 24/7 on Black Desert. Because I was watching it, the CPU utilization, even turning all the settings all the way down, it was utilizing my GPU about 30% and my CPU about 40%. So I don't really want to have that running on my computer nonstop 24/7. But yeah, I think The next part he talks about is the combat, and what about Black Desert's combat system isn't that great, and it's something I hadn't really thought about, so I really like that he made this point. Because I really think Terra's combat system is better than Black. I always thought Black Desert's was more fun than Terra's because it's more flashy and glitzy and glamour, but and it is more glitzy. But technically, like skill wise, Terra's is more skillful because Terra actually has more like finite hitboxes that you actually have to hit. Black Desert's gives you a lot more freedom. Just kind of I'll swing my sword, and as long as the guy's pretty much in that area, I'm gonna hit him. Like Terra's not like that. You can swing your sword and you have to be facing him, and your sword actually has to collide with his body. If it misses his body by a little bit, you're probably not going to hit him.
In a game where spending money can help your PvP progression. That's just a recipe for a whole lot of frustration. Something I would rather not subject myself to as well. If I want to play a game for its open world PvP, I'm not going to want it to be centered around a pay to progress model. Especially considering there's basically no customization past costumes, which are obviously bought from the store. Before you even get into the game itself, you have a reason to not want to play the game, to not...
Yeah, that's one of the first games to Rome that did that. Black Desert did it to a degree that I was shocked. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I can sit here and like have my guy fishing all night long, or I can sit... Like most games, that's a bot. You'd have to actually run a bot or something and, or cheat in some way to actually get something, a bot to do those things for you while you're not actually at the computer. But Black Desert allows you to do it.
Support the publisher Cacao Games and their constant microtransactions, and since they have been routinely downplaying what they do, all the while increasing monetization, I wouldn't support BDO simply based on this aspect alone. But let's pretend I could get over that. What's my other big issue in BDO?
And here it comes. In the beginning, he was saying some of the best things about BDO was the graphics and the combat. Now listen to this.
My other particularly point of distaste in Black Desert Online is surrounding its combat system. I know, it's a bit weird, I was just talking about how it's good, but I mean good in terms of relative to other tab target MMOs. But in regards to other MMOs that I know, does Black Desert Online definitively have the best combat? I don't think so. And it's frustrating that Black Desert Online fans...
Well, I definitely think Terra's combat's better as far as skill-wise. I never played Blade and Soul. I played Blade and Soul a little bit, but I didn't like... It wasn't very fluid, and the key bindings were a little funky, Hey, what's up, Ashy? I appreciate that, dude. I really do. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but MMOs are what I like the most, so that's what I talk about most here on my channel. And I've been wanting to play, like, we'll see when Blizzard comes out with Burning Crusade, I'll probably be streaming that, and I'm going to be streaming New World as well. But just stick around, check it out. I'll definitely be streaming more video games coming down the road. There just isn't... I've just been playing so much WoW recently that I've kind of been things have been stale in the landscape right now, and I'm just kind of jumping around, checking out the scene and learning more about what's out there and what's coming, and just kind of having fun with looking at some of the games that I've played previously. I think a lot of people are doing exactly what I'm doing. But Cerulean, yeah, I think Terra's like Blade and Souls. I really was frustrated with the key bindings in that game, and one of my biggest, and I've talked about it before, one of my biggest pet peeves is that a lot of the Asian MMOs don't like to allow you to keybind your mouse, and I don't know why they do that. And so like just simple stuff like shift left mouse click. A lot of Asian MMOs won't allow you to set up that keybind, and that really bothers me. And then some of them will let you do like mouse button 3, but they won't let you do shift mouse button 3. Or if they don't let you do shift mouse button 3, they won't let you do control mouse button 3. WoW's keybinding system is the best because it really lets you do pretty much whatever you want. I can keybind just about anything. I can keybind control mouse wheel up, shift mouse wheel up, mouse wheel up, mouse wheel down, control mouse wheel down, shift mouse wheel down. And I love that. It gives you so much flexibility, and that's why in WoW, and I don't use a MOBA mouse or anything like that. I just use a regular 5-button mouse, and I have no problems, man. I can come up with 30 keybinds that I can easily access without any kind of additional mouse, just using shift and control. So let's finish up what he was saying here.
Ignorant in that they don't know other action MMOs exist, ones with far more complex aiming and action combat systems than Black Desert Online could even dream of.
Yeah, he's right. There are other MMOs that have better combat, but they don't look this good. But BDO's combat system is really good in that it's really smooth for certain characters, especially more than others. But it also looks fantastic.
So Black Desert Online is considered an action MMORPG, but what is the action game genre anyway? Prominent action games like Jedi Academy, Mount & Blade, God of War, and Chivalry Medieval Warfare.
Notice the action games he's talking about are mostly kind of one-on-one type games, like sword fighting, stuff where it makes sense that you would have a really intricate collision detection system and hitboxes, because it makes a big difference if I hit you with my sword in your neck as opposed to your thigh. So it makes a lot of sense that those types of games are going to build in a little more intricate hitboxes. But the cool thing about Terra is Terra actually had, and if you, one of the things that you guys, actually, I wonder if I can find it real quick for you guys. Terra's combat system is so much better than most people realize. I wonder if there used to be an image for this, and I wonder if I can still find it. What was it called? Terra MMO BAM hitboxes. Oops, images. It was so funny because like this stuff used to be so easy to find, but now, people don't even care. People just, they don't really. A lot of the people that play the game don't really get into the combat and understand how good the system was built. I don't see the image that I'm looking for. So what's a person to do? So in Terra, you would have a BAM that looked like maybe maybe he's like a lizard, right? Here's his tail. He's got a leg here. He's got a leg here. And he's got his head like a basilisk. So this is like a basilisk, right? He's got his leg here. And I know this is beautiful artwork. Maybe he's got some spines on here. This is the side view. Now, if you look at his top view, right? And here he's got a leg. Here he's got a leg. What Terra did was actually built in hitboxes that were like here, 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 here. So if you were hitting here, you were hitting on this hitbox, and you were hitting on this hitbox, that would be considered a back hit. So this is back. If you were hitting here, this is considered just like, like basically side, front. But they calculated damage differently based on where you were hitting. But there were a lot more hitboxes, and some of them were in different areas of the body too. Like there might be one that was like here, up this part of the body. So if you, and then you got the back part here and the back part here. These spots are back. This would be a side. Maybe there's a hitbox here. But it had a lot more complicated hitboxes, and I don't know how many pixels they had in between that detected the collision, but it was a lot more intricate than most people probably realized. And if we get rid of this, let me look at the chat. You got to see some beautiful drawings. I'm using a mouse. If I had my pen, I could draw nicely, but you've been playing a lot of Mountain Blade. Yeah, Mountain Blade. I know you were talking about that before. I have not played Mountain Blade. Yeah, Terra, like the skills, pretty much a lot of it's gone out of the game, unfortunately. Yeah, I haven't played Brawler in Terra recently, but like when the game first came out, it was so much more difficult in that the mobs were way more difficult. They did so much more damage, and it was funny when I was playing this character in Terra, this one here, and I was going up to like, let's see where are we at, and I was going up to some BAMs. Where am I at? What level are these characters here? And I was going up to some BAMs, and they weren't using the skills that they used to use when I played the game, when the game came out. When did it come out, Terra? I think it's 2014, I think. Between 2012 and 2014. Somewhere in there, right? This is another thing about Terra. It didn't have really the freedom of movement a lot of MMOs have. Like, there's a lot of like, see this, there's a lot of weird, invisible walls in Terra. And the movement wasn't as fluid as some other MMOs. But it's interesting is this game was, think about it, this game was built on Unreal Engine. So so if people say you can't build an MMO on an Unreal Engine, it was heavily modified Unreal Engine, but they did build it on the Unreal Engine. I want to see if I get a buff here. One of the cool things about Terra is you'd get buffs by gathering. I always kind of liked that aspect of Terra. But wow, look how long it takes to loot this. Was it 212k? Yeah, the BAMs. Well, they don't. So see the buff I got. I now have the HP regen, right? Gathering speed increased and affects you from attacks. But yeah, they changed the hit points. You can see kind of where I'm making contact back and back. You know, front right side. Let's see if there's a front. Let's see if there's just a straight front. Get myself killed. Of course, this guy is level 42. Just the fact that at level 27, see, look at this. I'm actually killing a level 42 here, right? I mean, this never would have happened when the game first came out, right? Man, he does his frontal attack a lot. I mean, he's just doing that frontal attack a lot. But anyways, yeah, I could kill this guy if I was like practicing to get my combat, skills up. We could kill this guy no problem. Which is kind of ridiculous. Like in the original game when this came out, there's no way I could kill a level. Well, he doesn't want to let me get away. He's like, I'm coming after you. But yeah, you can see there, if I practice my skills up real quick, I could take him out. And there's no way I would be able to do that when the game first came out. So, but yeah, you would stack those. You would definitely stack those buffs like a ton. Where is the thing? Here we go. Let's finish this video here.
Fair are all known for their particular brands of action combat. They all typically feature physics-based engines that have in some cases require them to be pixel perfect to land a melee swing, whether through projectiles, momentum, and usually an attack and block system to complement. Action games, despite the way they look, can have a surprising amount of depth. In Black Desert Online, like most other games labeled action MMORPG, they do not use a full physics-based engine. This is because they, A, do not make you truly aim your ranged abilities, you have blatant aim assist and then a soft target buffer that allows you to land when you aimed a little bit off target. B, because projectiles aren't actually projectiles. They're not objects that are aimed like a fireball or an arrow. There is less chance to miss and dodge or demonstrate skill. This takes out the...
Yeah, so he's going to talk about here the way they combat this in Black Desert to make it feel like there's more skills is they give every class pretty much invulnerability frames by using a dodge mechanic. And if you watch in Black Desert, I can dodge like 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a row. So everybody's, when you're fighting in PvP, everybody's just dodging all over the place because that's the only way you can avoid getting hit. Because getting hit it's not easy just to move out of the way. Like, it's too bad I logged out of Terra. But in Terra, if you just stand there and a mob swings, all you have to do is just walk to the side. And he'll miss you because you're not there. And I've talked about it before in this other video that I've shown before, which is by a friend of mine. But yeah, and I think the Black Desert really it doesn't have that kind of advanced hit detection. It doesn't have those types of hitboxes. And it also, like he said, it's got aim assist. So when you're shooting arrows and stuff, it tends to kind of throw them in the direction of the target, like there's like blatant aim assist, he called it. I haven't played more of the range classes in Black Desert. I've always pretty much played mostly melee type base classes. But even the sorceress, like when I throw, stuff at people and at long range, it always seems to find the target,
the element of using your terrain to great length. Momentum isn't nearly as important, whereas momentum in most action games is a key element to extending ranged attacks or setting up combos. And as a bonus one, for an Asian MMO, Black Desert Online doesn't really do a good job with aerial combat. There's next to no comboing in the air, which means that Blade and Soul is kind of better at comboing than Black Desert Online is.
Well, it's better.
So
It's
Black
way
Desert
better,
Online
actually.
does force you technically to aim in order to hit your target. It's just that their definition of aim is different than the FPS or the action genre typically. Not to mention, to complement this, like other action MMOs, they add invincibility frames and a boatload of dashes.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
you can
dashes.
search a BDO PvP video on YouTube and see like 100 dashes in a minute. Those exist because you can't actually block parry properly or dodge projectiles as effectively. Think about a game like Mountain Blade. It has a very simple looking but complex combat system. You can block as well as parry, dodge, and attack. You don't need 100 dashes because in
He's
order to
talking
hit
about your
opponent
game,
and them
Cerulean.
to hit you, they have
He's
to be
talking about
pretty
your
damn
game.
accurate. And
Mountain
that
Blade.
requires you to be in the correct positioning. They don't get a soft hitbox. If their weapon doesn't collide with you, they don't hit you. They use a hard hitbox. Now sure, different games in different worlds, but why does a game like Black Desert Online need so many dashes? There aren't many complex action games you can just spam one movement option, and it will work out for you in a competitive environment. That's like imagine playing Quake, except the only thing you do to move is jump up and down. There's a lot more complexity in the game.
Wait a minute. He said, imagine a competitive game where the only thing you do is like, well, that's people do it. Like in Counter-Strike, people jump because they don't want you to get the headshot, so they jump up and down. By the way, I hate Counter-Strike. Sorry if I offend anybody, but because I came from playing, I came from being a competitive Unreal Tournament player from 1999. So, I was playing low gravity and 155 speed, 55% faster than normal speed and low grav, and so it was a much faster gameplay. So when I went and played something like Counter-Strike, it felt like I was walking through mud. And then when I went to shoot somebody, all they were doing was jumping up and down in crouches and jumping and crouching, and they're trying to basically move their head around so you can't hit them in the head because headshots are where it's all at, and it just was stupid. It was just flat out dumb to me.
Game like that. But in Black Desert Online, because it doesn't have that same engine, it lacks a lot of that complexity. Think about it. Because everyone in Black Desert Online can dash quite easily, it limits the flow of the game. If everyone is zipping around at light speed, you don't have the same variety. Now, I assume I will have some Black Desert Online fans telling me about how if I don't spend $200 and 500 hours, I can't talk about Black Desert Online's combat and its complexity. And maybe if I was claiming to be an expert on it, I could see their point, but I'm not. I'm just saying that in relation to other action games and MMORPGs, I don't think it's clearing away the best combat. In fact, I think its combat in relation to its other competitors is pretty much samey. Terra, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, and even Vindictus have very similar combat systems. But what combat systems do I think are better than Black Desert Online's, and why?
Yeah, the bunny hop always annoyed me, Cerulean.
Why?
It felt like you were moving faster just because you feel like you're moving through mud,
Well, the first one that
I mean, I showed you guys, I think I showed you that video of me playing. Like, if you go to...
12 years. But the other thing that this is really going to help you on is just shooting while moving, and that is really going to come into play in Overwatch. So,
oh, look how fast!
the one thing,
look how fast I'm moving, and this is would be normal game speed for me in Unreal Tournament. This is Unreal Tournament 1999. I hadn't played the game in I don't know. I think I said 12 or 15 years. It'd been a long time since I really played, so I really suck at it right here. But I was kind of talking about how you could use Unreal Tournament to actually increase your aim in FPS games for other FPS games, like even Overwatch. If you were like a sniper.
Thing that people don't think about in FPS as much as they should is your skill with movement, and that's because they've played Counter-Strike and Battlefield and these games where you're moving very slowly. You don't have these types of movement modifiers like sprint, like grappling hook, like rocket jumping. All of those things existed. Not grappling.
You can see these bots are just wrecking me right now.
A lot of those things pretty much existed in Unreal Tournament, and Unreal Tournament had a lot of modifiers, so there was a lot of different interesting ways to move. So getting good at shooting while moving and the most important thing that you can see, I'm starting to improve.
And there, I killed like 4 mobs in a row
in the game already, and this is the first time I played the game in like 12 years, and just in a few minutes.
And you could see there, I had like 11 frags. Now all these other players are bots, and what I was showing in this video is it's a great way to increase your aim for FPS games. For any FPS game would be to go into Unreal Tournament 1999, load up this map, which is Deck 16. And what's so good about this map is that it has
you know,
all
my
kinds of
aim is starting to
elevations.
get better.
So let me see if I get into.
Especially you'll get kind of to look anywhere.
Well, actually, you can see right here in Deck 16 they have all these slopes, and also they have an area down below with some walkways as well, and they have boxes and stuff you can move around. Here's a box, and you can go in here. And I put the bots at experience, which means they're pretty good aim. If you put the bots at godlike and you were a godlike player, you're still gonna get killed. Godlike bots. The one thing about Unreal Tournament was really interesting was that the bots were fucking good. Like the base skill of the bots, like if you put them to at least experienced, they were pretty decent. And once you knocked them up to like godlike or even a couple steps below that, they were even better. And so it was pretty fun playing up against the bots. It was a real challenge.
World,
well, here actually I showed it right there.
So what I'm trying to show you here is not that I look good, but I
want to see if where was it? I don't know if I'm gonna see it, but I showed the skill of possible skills. There's like about 6 or 7 levels of skill you can go through for the bots. So it was a great game to practice your aim if you're really if you're into FPS.
Over time. What's nice about this video that I did take is you'll see that I start to improve very quickly. Not very quickly, but I start to improve. And
actually I did start to improve. In the first like 5 minutes of this game, I actually couldn't kill anybody. And then by the time I got to like maybe 6, 7, or 8 minutes into this game, or 5 minutes in the game, I don't remember how many minutes I had played it, but I started to get, and I got like 4 or 5 headshots in a row, and I started to kind of get my feel back. But I played the game so much that it's still, to get back to the level I was at, I would honestly have to probably play for about 3 to 6 months straight to get back to the skill that I was at. It was ridiculous. I used to play this game pretty much 8 hours a day every day for about 3 years. I'd have days, of course, where I wouldn't play that much. But this is when I lived right across the street from my office, and so I would actually wake up in the morning, take a shower, play Unreal Tournament for about, like an hour, go to work, come home for lunch, play Unreal Tournament for an hour, go back to work, come home at 5 and play Unreal Tournament from like 5 until until like 11 or 12. And there's my 8 hours, and I do that like every day for almost 3 years, and I was so good. It was ridiculous. That's where my name Shady Hacks comes from, is because I used to get banned so much on servers because they always thought I was hacking. They'd call me a hacker, so when I was trying to come up with a name for MMOs, I couldn't think of a name. I came up with Shady Hacks, just kind of a joke on my skill at Unreal Tournament, because people always say I was hacking.
What comes to mind that's most related to a medieval fantasy?
It was like, oh man, that fucking Shady, she's always hacking. Shady Hacks.
Game like Death of a Game Online is Darkfall Online.
Gotta have fun with it.
This is a game I have covered on my Death of a Game series. Darkfall had what I would describe as...
I never played Darkfall, but he makes it sound like Darkfall was really cool.
Physics-based combat system, meaning if you were off a pixel when you shot an ability, you missed, unless the ability had AoE. The game played like Quake the MMORPG, but unfortunately, that was the defining aspect of the game, and it had a plethora of other issues. Still, it proved you could do action combat, think Morrowind or Oblivion style, and do it in an MMO at a massive scale. If a tiny company from Greece could do it, why haven't other game developers done it? Well, I don't really know exactly. Obviously, it could be costs, it could be netcode, and
I can tell you why they don't do it. The biggest reason they don't do it is it actually takes an extreme amount of development time to build a combat system that has that kind of accuracy, that kind of hit scan accuracy, unless you're a company who's done it extensively. And I've been going through a video series by a guy who's putting together a Souls-like combat system. And it's like he's on like video, like each video he does is usually around an hour. He's on like the 250th video of that series just to create like a combat system that's kind of like Dark Souls. And, so it's extremely complicated, and it takes a lot of time. That's why most MMOs makers don't make it, because of the amount of time it takes to put that, because you got to put the good right physics system in. You got to tweak out all the animations. You got to tweak out all the hitboxes. It's just a lot of testing.
It also is probably because MMO fans are kind of used to shitty combat, and
yeah,
so
this
they
is
don't
Nerd
really
Slayer.
know what to expect at this.
I don't watch a ton of his videos, Cerulean, but I did watch a couple. I liked watching his Death of the Game for like Rift and some of the games that I thought unfortunately died before their time, really.
This point, except the same old, and frankly speaking, I'm tired of the same old. It's just a bit comical when people want to tell me about how intricate Black Desert Online and how great it is as a combat system when they've never even played or heard of Darkfall Online, which has a much more responsive combat system. Darkfall solves the previous issues that I mentioned with Black Desert Online in the sense that it has projectiles as well as hit scan abilities. You have to aim your melee swings, and being behind someone gave you extra damage, so positioning is super important. Everything in the game was aimed, from heals to buffs to damage spells. That's what an action MMO, whenever I picture it in my mind, manifests to me. Black Desert Online doesn't have that same complexity or visceralness, and that's important for me in an MMO that focuses on PvP. There's a couple other games that you can look at for good combat systems, a couple of them that I have covered before on my series, such as Firefall and Global Agenda. Global Agenda was especially cool because it required you to aim even as a healer. Now, TLDR, I don't think...
Now, actually, did you catch that, Cyril? He said it requires you to aim even as a healer. What other game did that? Terra did. And one of the best things about Terra, the first week it was out, was that as a healer, you had to kind of aim because you were throwing this heal that was like a little ball. I mean, you would target like a section on the ground, and you would throw out the spell that would hit that ground, and when it hit, it healed people that were in that area. So you had to anticipate where people were moving, and the boss was throwing these big-ass moves, and these big-ass telegraphs that people had to get out of the way of. So you could say, well, I think that my party, like, I think my tank's going to go here, and he's really low on health. Well, you start to make the cast to throw it to where you think the tank's moving, and then all of a sudden the boss does a huge mechanic, a huge attack right in that exact spot, and then the tank has to move a different direction, and you cast that your heal was pretty much wasted. And so being a healer in Terra in the beginning of the game when it first came out was super rewarding because you had to have a high degree of skill to be able to anticipate stuff. Now that they did have lock-on heals, but that heal that I'm talking about was not a lock-on heal. That was actually landing a heal on a ground, and people just had to be in that area. It was like an area heal, and it was just super cool. They did have lock-on heals, but that area of effect or healing on the ground was super cool, and it made it really fun to play a healer.
I think Black Desert Online's combat system,
just look how awesome the graphics are here, though,
has enough depth in it, and I think it's inferior to previous MMORPGs in specific regards. The fact that the game is so based also behind a grind and money wall, it just makes its competitive edge even less competitive, since it's ultimately more of a battle of credit cards and not for skill.
Yeah, they definitely took time to get a hang of.
My final reason for not enjoying Black Desert Online has certainly been the busy work in the game. To those unaware, Asian-style MMOs, which have been launching since the late 1990s and early 2000s, have nearly always focused on more grind-centric gameplay. The most popular MMO ever was Lineage, and Lineage is a Korean title that had an insane level of grind in it. In Korea, this is sort of more so the norm. Western players are typically less likely to grind in an MMO. And by grind, I mean by the MMO bro definition, which is kill monsters. Despite the poor reviews, ArcAge and Black Desert Online have made the companies a boatload. Related to my final point regarding Black Desert Online, and that's in regards to the kinds of content there is in the game. Progression in Black Desert Online is synonymous with grind. You will find yourself pulling a whole camp of mobs and wiping them, only to repeat the process over and over and over.
That's right,
as questing offers far less experience.
But yeah, well, the questing does offer far less experience, but you can get the tomb, which will actually give you 30% better combat experience when you're doing a quest. So there are ways to get better quest experience. But there definitely was the healing in Terra. Like I said, I think it was probably the most fun healing I've ever done in any MMO, probably. I mean, although I would say Rift healing as a cleric with the Warden build, with a more hot build in Battlegrounds was probably my favorite healing of all time because I was able to single-handedly keep my entire group alive. I could get 5 hots up on every single player, and if I was quick enough and fast enough to just stay on them and keep those hots up, I could keep them alive, and we could just dominate Battlegrounds. And again, it's just really sad that that Rift came out at a time really when WoW still had too much of the marketplace. I mean, they actually pulled about 1 million players away from World of Warcraft, Rift did, and then I'm not sure what really happened. I don't really know what happened to Rift in the beginning. To me, I felt like I don't know. It's hard to explain. I think the thing with Rift was it has some things in it that were better than WoW. I think the Rift system was really cool. I think it was really fun to just walk into an area and be added to like a public group to actually do like area events in the area, which was really cool. And it was neat to actually try to get people to help you to do stuff like that. Well, I liked the hot build. I can't remember for sure, Cyril, and if it was the Warden, but the hot build on that cleric was, for me anyway, was super rewarding and super fun. I think it was Warden, but I really enjoyed it. I never played the Chloromancer build. I don't even remember what that was. It was so long ago, Cyril. But yeah, I don't know really what happened with Rift, other than that. I think Rift is one of those games that if it would have came out before WoW came out, it would have been insanely successful because it was a really, really good game. But WoW's unique trinkets. I think one of the biggest things about WoW that people overlook was really the uniqueness of the items. Really, the itemization of WoW is what really made WoW to me like really a great game because you could really put together all different types of gear. I mean, you could grab a leather piece. You could be like a tank, and maybe you might equip a leather piece because you just really needed some stat on that leather piece, or you could have a two-handed weapon, and you could weapon swap to that two-handed weapon, just hoping you'd get the proc effect. I do that all the time with my paladin, just hoping you'd get that proc effect. And you could put in a build. You could put in a set of armor that was specific for resistance against all these different types of effects. So that if you were going up in PvP situations in the world, some mage or some warlock comes at you, you can swap in your thorium set of gear on your tank, and all of a sudden you're resisting all of the spells and all the damage. There's different things you could do that I don't see that as much in other MMOs. So that maybe they're there, but I haven't seen it as much as like what WoW has. WoW has a lot more unique items that have on-use effects and procs and those types of things you don't see a lot in other MMOs, at least not to that degree of just fun. Like the comical. Like, I mean, there was a trinket. Was it the Burning Crusade? I can't remember Cerulean, or it was the Wrath of the Lich King where they had the rainbow trinket, the rainbow generator that actually procced, and a big huge rainbow shot out from you to the other person. Like, I'd be in the middle. I always would use it in Arathi Basin at was it Blacksmith or whatever, right in the middle of the map, and I would wait for like some hunter to come up the hill from the horde side, and I would just proc my rainbow trinket with like magic missile. I'd shoot like a frostbolt with my mage. Also, this huge rainbow would go all the way across the entire area, and people would be like, "What the hell?" Because most people hadn't seen it. So stuff like that, moments like that, and WoW were hard to beat in other MMOs. But I think Rift came out at a time when there was just that WoW had too much of its teeth sunk into the MMO market. The MMO market is big, but it's not that big. I mean, it is big. I think there's probably a good 30 million dedicated, MMO players out there. Maybe even more. Maybe it's 100 million, 200 million. But if there's one game that can pull like 10, 20 million, a lot of the other games I think really suffer. And that's why when WoW disappears, which they've been losing people for a long time, that there's a real big empty spot right now for a good MMO. And every time you look on YouTube or on a website, everybody's always saying, "Oh, there's this or that," and there's all these great things coming down the road. And could this be, like if you go to, MMO Byte, I mean, he does. I love his channel, but he does a lot of videos like that. Could this be the next big thing? And I'm like, come on, who are you kidding? Like there's one on here. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's just search for next big. Right? Blue Curl Club. Could this be the next big MMO? Is New World the next big MMO? Is Project TL? Is Project TL the next big MMO? Well, let's see if there's some other ones. Monster Hell Online. Amaze. Will it come out in English? Wait, what? RIP. Looks incredible. But I mean, you have all these kind of. I mean, is New World going to be the next big MMO? I can tell you right now.
Is New World?
I can tell you right now, no fucking way is that going to be the next big MMO. I like New World, but is it going to be the next big MMO? No. And then is Project N1? I don't really know enough about that one. I've looked, but I don't think so. Project TL, definitely not. Most of these have no chance. Honestly, the game to me that had the biggest chance to be a big MMO and that I was really into was WildStar. Like when WildStar was in development, I was big on WildStar. I thought, that you say they basically borrowed money from banks instead of finding an actual publisher, so they didn't have any. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you watch, you must have watched The Death of a Game on Rift, because I remember watching that, and he talked about how they got their money, and it was pretty, they had such a good game. And the other thing that was interesting is the guy who made Rift was like publicly challenging Blizzard, like, we're coming after you. You know what I mean? That was part of their marketing campaign, was basically saying, we're gonna be the next big MMO. We're gonna take down, WoW. I don't think there's anything, but when WildStar first started to come out, and I have an interesting story about that. I found WildStar because I used to love Lineage 2. Like Lineage 2 was my thing, man. It was my first MMO I ever played. First big, open world MMO, and I was hardcore. I really loved the game. And I used to go to NCSoft. I don't even know if it's ncsoft.com, is it? And I used to go to this website all the time, right? NCSoft. I've played Guild Wars 2, and I love Guild Wars 2. I played Ion. I loved Ion. I never played Guild Wars. I played Guild Wars 1 maybe for a couple hours. Lineage 2, I played Lineage 2 for years. Blade and Soul I played a little bit, not a lot. I don't know what this is, but because I like Lineage 2, I used to always pop on the site every once in a while. And I just happened to pop onto Lineage 2 like within the week that they first put anything on there for WildStar, and I saw this WildStar and just an image of some character models, and I'm like, "What's this WildStar?" I go, "This sounds cool," and it said sign up for news. So I was one of the first people, one of the really early people to sign up for the closed beta on WildStar, and I got in. I was in every single closed beta in WildStar and every open beta. And by the third closed beta, I knew the game was screwed. I was like, and I got a lot of hate from people because you know how these MMOs are. People really get in MMOs, they get on the bandwagon, and people defend their MMOs with some kind of loyalty that I just don't understand. Like unless you've really played the game and seen what it can do. I mean, a lot of people especially like Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is another example. It's like they haven't put out much, and I don't think Pantheon has a chance to really be much of an MMO, but we'll find out. It could. And I was a big fan of Pantheon early on, but right now I don't have a good feeling about it. But the people will defend it to the last. And after the third closed beta, I realized they had too many problems with the combat system. I also realized that they were having issues with too much involvement from the community, and that they were trying to appease too many people. And they were losing focus of what was really the main goal, which I don't even know what their goal was, but they had to have had a main focus. Like, this is the market share we want. And as an MMO maker, you have to understand what is the target market niche you're shooting for. You shouldn't shoot for everybody. You're just gonna be like, well, we want to get everybody. We want the people that like PvP. We want the people that are casual players. We want the people that are crafters. We want the people that like all the fashion stuff and all the little cute girly characters we can play and make them look like bunny rabbits. I mean, you really shouldn't focus on all of that, because if you're going to do that, it's just too much work. It's too many things to try to get into the game. It's too many systems. You should focus on a niche area. That's why I'm really impressed. I mean, Black Desert was behind schedule by I think a couple years. I think they were supposed to release a couple years before they did, and the reason they put in so much into that game, I'm just amazed. Black Desert is a very intricate game that has an unbelievable amount of systems built into it. Too many in my fact, and that's something I wanted to mention today when I was looking at this video, is I'd never thought about that before, but looking at MMO and said there's just too much. And I thought about that way in Black Desert before when I came back and tried to play a couple years after I had left the game. I just thought there's just too much. There's too much in this game. I don't even think I want to play this game. I actually logged into Black Desert a couple times years ago and was intimidated. I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do? And and if you guys know me, I'm very scatterbrained, so it's hard for me to focus. You can just see in the stream, I'm like all over the place. That's just the way I am. And so when I go into a game like that has all those systems, I'm like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And next thing you know, I don't do anything. But anyways, yeah. So you're saying, yeah, I was in the beta, play. It was just, well, I think you think the new ones. I think there isn't going to be another truly big MMO. Well, I think you're right. I think they have focused towards the niche, but we've talked about it, and really, I mean, to make a very successful MMO, you don't have to, like, when you think of like the niche, I mean, what is the niche, right? What niches are there? Some of the big ones are what? PvP, massive open world, because to me, this is a big one, right? Because a lot of MMOs don't have that. Blade and Soul didn't have a massive open world. Terra, in a lot of aspects, didn't have a massive open world. There's a lot of like boundaries and stuff. What games did have a massive open world? Well, World of Warcraft. WoW. Black Desert actually has an excellent open world. Black Desert. Guild Wars 2. These are games that have very big worlds that you can explore and walk through, and this isn't an MMO, but Skyrim. One of the best things about Skyrim is if you see it, you can usually get to it. If I see a mountain, I can climb it. If I see a tower, I can get to it. And that's something that I want to see in MMO. But when you start talking about niches, I think the big niches, again, let me get back to on topic. You know how I get scatterbrained. The big niches usually are PvP, PvE, sandbox, which is a term that I don't even know what it means anymore. And then there's, of course, theme park. Sandbox is like, there's the players develop systems and develop mechanics that weren't originally created by the game master. Basically, the game developers put systems out there saying, hey, you have the ability to craft stuff, and you have the ability to maybe take over different areas of the map. and then the players find out ways to do things with those mechanics that weren't anticipated by the makers of the game. And that's one of the things of making it a sandbox game, is that here we're giving you the sandbox, and you can create stuff out of the sand. We're giving you the sand so you can make stuff, but you're actually making the stuff. You're making stuff that we never dreamed you'd make, but you're doing it. That's a sandbox game, you know. A theme park game is saying, you know, we have set things in place, and no matter how much you want to change them, they're not going to be changed. They're still there, and you still have to do those things. You still have to, you know, if you want to PvP and in World of Warcraft, you got to go to the battlegrounds, or, you know, whatever. You know, if you want to get some of the gear in World of Warcraft, you have to go through the raids to get it. There's no other way around killing that boss. You can't go to the auction house and buy it. You certainly can't craft some of the gear to get there. So, anyways, well, I think Terra had a lot of, but the problem with Terra, Cerulean, is Terra had a lot of stuff that was inaccessible. You know, lots of mountains, lots of cliffs. Excuse me. I seem to have a dry throat or something. They had a lot of canyons and crevices and cliffs and mountains that were completely, you couldn't get to them. And to me, that makes it inaccessible. The only reason, like in WoW, you couldn't get to some of those areas, it wasn't because you couldn't physically walk on those areas. It was just that it was too steep for the game, for the engine. You know, what's the word? The physics. The physics engine just didn't allow you at a certain degree of incline to be able to walk up that surface, right? But in Terra, that wasn't the case. It wasn't the incline that stopped you, it was an invisible wall. So there was a ton of invisible walls in Terra that prevented you from trying to get to certain areas. And that's why I say it wasn't massively open world. It did have a pretty big open world, but it was pretty much like a big dungeon. You had room to room to room, you know. You're basically funneled. Like Cerulean, when you think about going from one map to the next in Terra, you pretty much only certain areas in which you can do that. Whereas in WoW, I could go from one map to another in like a lot of different ways. I mean, they have a way that you can do it. So let's just look at Tenaris. How many different ways could I climb over the walls and just jump down into Ungoro Crater? Like a million, 1,000. I mean, any part of the wall there, I could walk up and jump down into Ungoro Crater. There's nothing preventing me from entering Ungoro Crater from 1,000 different locations. Terra wasn't like that. There might only be 4 or 5 ways to get to the next map from the map you're in. So that's what I'm talking about with really a completely open world, you know. I mean, Terra really funnels you through, and it is very linear, like you said. So you feel like you're befunneled, and that's something I don't really like. But when you talk about all this other niche development, there's really the old school. You know, they talk about old school MMO, which is kind of trending right now, very trendy. And you talk about games like, you know, like Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, or even Ashes of Creation. They call it more old school. I totally disagree with that. I think Ashes of Creation is destined for a massive flop. I think that their system of building cities is just going to create a massive, like, total, like, PvP gankfest like no one's ever seen before, and no one's ever going to want to see again. You know, it's not going to be pretty. So, actually, I wanted to look at, what is Fuser? Let's check this out. Oh no. It's a dancing game? What the hell? What am I looking at? What am I looking at? Okay, so there's actually a game called Fuser. Yeah, that's new. I never heard of that, and definitely don't want to play it. Definitely don't want to play that game. So, and Csoft really focuses a lot of their money through Lineage 2. They have games that they've been making money on for a long time. I'd really like to see them create it. You know, they've really worked on their new, you know, mobile version of Lineage. Really, Lineage 3 is their mobile game. I think that's Project TL. I think is pretty much Lineage 3, if I remember correctly.
This is exciting news. Insider, the other.
Now, I can't play Project TL. I believe it's isometric.
That there can only people were just not that way. Investors can.
Yeah, see, it's an isometric game. I will not play an isometric game, but this is basically I think NCSoft's latest
see what's going on with their money. During their most recent financial report for the third quarter, several things were revealed. On the one hand, mobile game revenue had declined by 5% in the last few months, while
yes, mobile go to hell.
PC game revenue was actually up by 3%.
Yeah.
But more importantly, they made mention of Project TL. According to NCSoft, Project TL is still very much in active development, and they finally have a release date for their closed beta scheduled, 2020, or the first half of 2020 at the very
least. I always get this guy on my videos. Want to be friends? What? Who is this freak? I guess he likes my Black Desert. I wasn't planning on... I kind of had made the decision after watching that video that I was showing you guys earlier that I'm probably not going to play Black Desert a whole lot more because there really isn't... It's just too grindy. Like, let's finish this video out.
Isn't any more fun or inventive. And that's sort of the gameplay loop in Black Desert Online. It doesn't really have a big raid focus, so people keep progressing by grinding, and they can keep progressing because there isn't an experience cap. Last I heard, the highest ranked player was between 63 and 65, which would take you 4 months of playing basically 64 hours a week with all proper XP boosts, pets, and etc. As you level, you get more skill points, better combat stats, and most importantly, money. Yep, most people level and grind just simply to afford the cost of their gear, characters, and because the enjoyment, really. Rinse and repeat. In a nutshell, that's the game. If you find that feedback loop fun and the gameplay fun, by all means, Black Desert Online is the perfect game for you. It implements that treadmill we call life, except it's not life. It's kind of busy work, the MMORPG. I don't particularly find...
I like that, busy work, the MMORPG.
Endless grinding fun, especially if the main idea behind endless grinding is to get to in-game PvP, which is dominated by those who endlessly grind the most. Not to mention, I'm not really involved in the world at all. The lore is non-existent.
Yeah, the lore is non-existent.
I think to myself, why am I even grinding? Do I really enjoy the combat that much? Well, as I explained, no. No thanks, Black Desert Online. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, good video. So after watching this one and then the one by the Games Lighthouse, I think it was Games Lighthouse. Yeah, Games Lighthouse. He's got a really good one on Black Desert too. I watched some of that the other day, and I love Black Desert, so I would never talk badly about Black Desert in the way of it's a fun game, but I couldn't. I got to the point where I started spending money on it. They were sinking their teeth into me, and I started buying a couple costumes and a couple things. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like, I'm not going to go anywhere with this game. I mean, I'm going to play it. It's good to get in there and play. But I don't want to just sit there and grind mobs over and over and over again for basically like 2 years. Because that's what it's going to take. 2 years of killing mobs to probably get all the gear I need to then even be viable. Because what was explained to me in one of these other videos is that you can't, and I knew this to some degree, you can't even go out into the world and really seriously PvP unless you have like really good gear. I mean, you're going to be able to kill other low-B players, of course, but when you go up against the big boys, you are going to get stomped, and I mean stomped hard. So is that really worth grinding and grinding and grinding forever just so you can get sure you're not getting stomped? I mean, like in like Guild Wars 2, you can get like the basic end game gear and from completing all the quests, and you're actually fairly viable. You can do some combat and fight. Same thing in World of Warcraft. You can actually get some pretty decent gear in PvP, and if you know your class really well, you can actually you have a chance. Same thing with Terra. In Terra, I used to PvP in Terra all the time outside of that Papalian town, and I would duel people and I would request duels. I wouldn't like really request, but I would go out there and people would just duel. It was known that if you stood outside and just kind of stood there, people knew you were waiting there to fight people. So people would just come out and attack you. And so I would stand out there and I would let anybody attack me. And if they were, as long as they were like at my level or higher, if they were like below me, I would fight them. But of course I would usually win. But if they were like above me 5, 6, 7 levels, I still would fight them because I wanted to beat them. And because it's more fun to beat somebody higher level. But you still could, you still could beat people that were higher level. That's what I'm trying to say is that certain games in PvP, you still have a chance, and skill has to come into it. And a lot of these games, there isn't a lot of skill. It's more just gear. Who's got better gear? That's not that exciting to me. Yeah, I tried to play Ion, the original one, through and again, but I really just couldn't get back into it. It was too dead. The graphics were a little dated, and then the movement in the game felt clunky. Now, when I played it back when it came out, it didn't feel as clunky because the games back then just were clunky. Even now when I go into Terra, I feel that Terra's feels kind of clunky. And when I play these games, you know, although the this one, the movement key bindings are all fucked up, but when you play these combat games, that all these ones that are coming out, and there's so many of them now. Blue Protocol, I definitely want to try out Blue Protocol, and I cannot figure out how to. Oops, I cannot figure out how to change the volume on that, so I need to fix that. But Blue Protocol, he's like, could this be the next big, you know, MMO? I mean, this, and the thing that surprises me with Blue Protocol is that he talks about how great the graphics are. They're okay. You know, they're not.
The launch of the game will.
The one thing I don't like about the graphics in some of these anime styles is that there's no contrast to the graphics. They're to me, the palette seems kind of flat. You know, it doesn't seem very vibrant. Like here, and there's some nice color.
Oh, are you serious?
But there's not, like, I mean, you see it, like, see all the greens here are all kind of the same color. You don't see any red. You don't see any vegetation that has like reds or blues or yellows. There's a little bit of blue on the left, but it's very little, you know? I mean, it looks, the graphics, I like the art style, but to me, like, if you compare this to like Justice Online or Black Desert, you know, I just would like to see more variety in the color palette. That's all. I'm not saying it's bad. I think it looks good. I think it looks very nice, but I would like to see a little bit more in the color palette. And then this one too, from what I've seen in the videos I've seen, it's not really an open world. I mean, you're being funneled through zones, you know?
Wow.
He just got
one of
crushed.
the most common solo. While speaking of getting overwhelmed by enemy monsters, the AI in Blue Protocol is programmed in a very interesting way. Going back through my stream footage, I realized that the enemy shield type monsters, effectively the tanks, would often stand in front of the mage type enemies and block my shots from going through and hitting them. When I would try moving around them to hit the mage, or when the mage would migrate to the side, the tank monster would follow over to ensure that it was protected. The AI is actually amazingly attentive to small details like this, and it is not only frustrating as you soak up so much more damage having to get through or around the tank, but it makes encounters so much more rewarding. Even boss fights themselves are more challenging than expected. As an example, there was this one boss in specific, a boar boss, that had a specific attack pattern. He'd use a skill, you know, he'd charge right at you, it would require approximately 2 or 3 dodges to get out of, and you'd be fine. But towards the final quarter of his life, he suddenly changed strategy and began to charge almost uncontrollably. Oops, this attack. That's never a good sign.
Well, he probably enraged.
Holy!
He probably just enraged. Like, I mean, the same thing happened in Terra, right? Like what he's talking about, the exact same thing happened in Terra when the Basilisk would enrage. Remember, Saron, they were like 10 times harder when they enraged. When the game first came out, a Basilisk would jump up and down, and he might roll around or charge. But once he enraged, he was crazy, man. He was like jumping and charging and flying around, and they were fast. So they definitely scaled down the speed of the mobs when they're enraged in Terra, to the point of like they went from like 100% speed increase to like, you know, 30% or something. It's nothing. It's a joke. Terra is a complete joke right now, which is really sad.
No.
But I mean, everything in the combat here is, you know, like I said, nothing new.
No, why is he still ramming? Whoa.
Move.
I was dead. Oh. Now, this isn't something that's new or exclusive to Blue Protocol. Boss monsters and other MMOs, wow,
Terra did
sense of progression, right? Final Fantasy XIV. I know some of you are taking my time with it. Granted, the game doesn't have.
But again, every time when you watch these videos, you'll see. Yeah, it just looks like an enragement mechanic. You'll see that he's always in almost like little small areas. It's not open world, you know.
Have an ETA on when it'll. Oh no! I'll definitely be around. Hopefully, we have tons of blade.
Wait, so he is in a. This looks like a little bit more open world, at least.
MMOs that are. Oh no! Oh no! Oh wow! You fall into the water, you die. Oh my god.
Yes, it is not stupid proof. Finally, an MMO that's not stupid proof.
Yeah, the game really is not stupid proof. Okay.
Yeah, and see I don't know, these graphics to me, I mean, it's this kind of that cell shading look, but very bland colors, you know, bland grays and light blues and kind of pastels.
Here we go.
What is he doing?
Both arms.
That was terrible. Him for this. At least I can actually see what I'm hitting.
I don't like it when they do. I think I see what they're doing though with the health bars. The thicker health bars, I'm assuming, is players that are closer to you. No, that's not the case because this person who was left kept getting closer and the bar stayed the same size. Although now it's bigger. I wonder if there was just a delay on it. Recent. Let's look at that again. Yeah, see how the bar got bigger? So that looked like just like a redraw issue with the game engine.
That is a mage skill. Are you kidding me? That is a...
I wasn't even looking at the mage skill. Somebody dropped a bomb, I guess.
You know what, I'm gonna lock onto him for this.
Here comes the mage skill.
See what I'm hitting. That is a mage skill. Are you kidding me? That is bullshit. This is why I wanted to go mage.
I guess the person who gets the last hit must be getting something. That's why he was complaining there. Oh, they do? Oh, God. Why does she have fangs?
I'm so upset with you. What are you upset for, little lady? I don't really know. My hair.
Seriously, y'all.
There's a lot of people. Are they all
This
dancing?
is the only dancing you
What the hell?
need for this stream right now. All these people just dancing in unison too. That is impressive, friend. No.
You're almost dead.
I see that. 911 guys.
Look at that mob. That mob is hilarious. Are that his eyes? Are those his eyes?
Oh lord. I died.
I like how it can. It looked like she just kind of jumped into it, like, whoops. I gotta see that again. That doesn't. So I think they need to work on their hitboxes. What do you think, Cyrillian?
Oh lord.
I think it like hit the ground. It must have had some lingering like damage in the area, like AOE, and she moved through the area too soon. That's what it looked like.
I see that. 911 guys. Oh lord.
Oh no, it hit her right away. Oh man. So let's take a look at what are the best combat MMOs. This is MMOs. What are they? So they're saying Revelation. I can tell you the combat sucks. Neverwinter is actually kind of fun. I like Neverwinter's combat system. Blade and Soul, I think it's kind of clunky, but it can be good, but it's kind of clunky. Black Desert is really fun combat, whether you believe in the difficulty. The difficulty's not really there. It's not super complex, but it looks really nice and it feels smooth. So Terra's is fun, but it's getting dated. Closers I have not played. Critica is okay. I played Critica. It's okay. Elsword I've not played. Warframe I've not played. Just Spell Gear. What is it? Take a look at that. Guardians of Ember. I can't play isometric. Isometric, screw it. DC I played. MU Legend. Draxang looks isometric. Soulworker I played. Soulworker was fun combat, but a boring game. Isometric. Wildstar. You can't play Wildstar now. What was this article? Look at Leak Shoot here, but yeah, Wildstar is dead, guys. This must be like an old. This must be like an old list. Yeah, they do have quirky mob design. What was that one that I clicked on? I want to go back to that. This one here, the Spell Gear. Let's open that one up again. What was this article? They should have a published date on this, right? I don't see a date on this article. That always annoys me, you know. If you're gonna write an article, it should always be at the top, a date, so we know when it came out, you know. This is obviously the old. What was that one? What was that one? Dragon's Age? Yeah, I didn't like Critica that much. Was it Dragon's Age that had the old school Dragon's Age or Dragon's Quest? Dragon's Age? No, it wasn't Dragon's Age.
I've played both has two different backgrounds.
Dragon's Age is an RPG.
Treat you, and each class has 4 special.
It wasn't Dragon Quest. What was it called? What was that? Was it Dragon Quest? No. He's got that video. This is 1 year ago. Skyland's pretty good.
What's going on, friends and family? My name is Skyland, and in fact, I do know what's going on.
I like Skyland's videos. He's pretty good.
MMOs, maybe with some action combat. Let's go ahead and see what Sky's got to say.
Well, this is Ash's creation, I think.
Say all the time, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but this time I want to just know bluntly, you know, hey, this game technically has action combat. Technically, it's upcoming.
So basically, Star Citizen, no thanks. New World, Chronicles Lyria, dead. Ember. Let's try out Ember and Ashes of Creation. There's no way. I do not want to play Ashes of Creation. Although they keep making a lot of new progress. Was it Dragon Quest? I can't remember. Oh, we don't have gameplay?
I'd rather put this game than some other games that we've seen. You know, like Gloria Victis or whatever. Like, no.
Okay, so nothing in this list looks like it's really remotely entertaining. Yeah, this God. That's this game right here, the screenshot right here. This is fucking you know, it's that one game, City of Chronicles of Lyria, man. That game was such a clusterfuck. The guy who made Chronicles of Lyria, they're trying to sue him so hard, and he's trying to get out of it. It's just a total shit show. Spell Gear. Let me guess, is it isometric? It's kind of hard to tell from that screenshot. Looks pretty old. This does not really. All the camera angles do look kind of the same. Oh. Yeah, this looks too old. Mixed 27. Wow, 2017. It's not that old, but yeah. I just don't want to go to sleep apparently because it's what? Yeah, I need to go to bed. It's 2 a.m. Told you this video was ramblings. Yeah, Chronicles is dead, man. Yeah. He's totally like, oh, I'm working. And he kept saying that we're working on it. And then they asked how many people, and he's like, oh, it's just me. Why do you keep saying we? Like, we're doing this, we're doing that. We. You know, he's like, we still have developers who are volunteering to work on it in their spare time for free. And they're like, who? You know what I mean? It's just, he's such a total liar. It's unbelievable. But I just did a search for best action combat emergencies of all time, and you get is Dragon's Nest. That's the one I was trying to think of. 2010. Now, kind of nice Steel I played. It's pretty good, pretty great combat system actually. Those I haven't played. 2014. We'll take a look at that. And all these others are. I don't know why EVE Online came up. That's funny. But Dragon Nest was the one I was that I was talking about.
Hi guys, this is Omer from MMO.com, and I'm gonna do a first impressions gameplay video.
So this is a 2011 first impressions. This ought to be fun.
For Dragon Nest, a 3D anime-inspired action MMORPG published by Nexon. Now spend about 10 to 15 minutes running around checking this game out, make some comments. If you guys want to play Dragon Nest or just learn more about it, do check out the full review on MMO.com on the link below. So let's go and get started right now, guys. We're going to play on Argenta. No, we're going to play on Vels.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice to go back to 2011 again, Thrillin, and be those people? Because 2011 was like the boon. I mean, that was like when MMOs were just like, you know, they were hot. You know, it was like when Jerry Maguire's like, I was hot. But yeah, it was when MMOs, the whole market was about to explode with games.
26, 2011. So this game is supposed to be like Vindictus, except with an anime twist to it. More so, it's supposed to be the same kind of action. You see all the channels as busy because the game actually just launched as I'm doing this video. In the open beta, the game's level cap is 20. How to pick this up? I want to get my coppers. I can't walk over it, so let's see. Maybe E. Nope, it's not E. It's going. You know what? I'll just talk to you, Lily. No, I gotta kill this guy first. another Shadow Forest Goblin. So as I said earlier, the combat is very much action-oriented. Oh, F to grab items, there you go. So very much like Vindictus, if you've played that, another game published by Nexon. So let's go loot all this good stuff over here, and I like the sign over here. It's like, danger that way, don't go that way. So
yeah,
don't
go that way.
Can we pick her up? I want to pick her up. Nope, we gotta talk to you first. The missing girl, talk to Elder.
I think I played this game once for like a little bit. It's actually a pretty cool game, so I think is it Steam? That's not it. Was it Dragon Nest? I already forgot the name. Dragon Nest, right? Yeah, Dragon Nest, not. Yeah. 90% like this game. There you go. It is on Steam. It's in my library. So at some point in time I played this game, right? Terra around the corner? What do you mean Terra around the corner? I'm not gonna play Terra. I tried to play Terra, but I really couldn't. Alright, we gotta install it. So I added it, but I never installed it. Closers. What's Closers again? That's on Steam as well. Closers. Come on, you can play. Is it gonna play? It's gonna think about playing. The video player in Steam always sucks. Yeah, no thanks. I don't want to play that. You know what was a really super cool game that you guys probably haven't played? I really liked this game. It was called Arcblade. I think it's probably gone. I think the game doesn't exist anymore. It was on Unreal Engine 2. It's a super great game. Now, it's funny, it says recent reviews mixed, but that all reviews were mostly positive because this... Oops, sorry. I hate that when you selected it. These are all links, but this was actually a really fun game. Janmei. She was the most overpowered character in the game, Alika. She was so overpowered. Oh, Tiak. You don't really get like, yeah, you don't really get the best impression of like really what the game's about when you watch that video. But what it's about is it's really like it's like playing Unreal Tournament. I mean, it's basically what it is you have it's like point control. You have points on the map that you have to control, and it's like a fighter game. But you have certain classes. There's classes that can shoot like a gun, like a long range gun. There's like a class that's my class right here. This one here, this chick. She's more of a brawler with her fists. She's super fun to play, but she also can shoot like fire out of her hands and do like some long range attacks. And here's the sniper class. So it's a really cool game. Think like oh, what's Blizzard's game? I'm just getting late, guys. My brain's going. You know, Blizzard's FPS game, whatever. Overwatch. It's kind of like Overwatch in that you have different characters like Overwatch has, but you are on specific maps, which just like Overwatch, you have maps. But the game was made by a team of about 13 or 14 people, so for them to make a game like that, I think is pretty impressive. And if you go on my channel and search for Arcblade, you'll see I did a couple videos on it, and I'm sure these videos are awful. These were done in 2013. Oh god, I was trying to play this character. She was the one that was super overpowered. But the game had a lot of combos built into it, so you had a lot of air attacks and evasions and blocks, and you know, it was really, really fun. But this is the character I played all the time, was Rennie F, and she's a super cool character. And I had, this is a skin that I actually bought that made her look like that. But what was cool about her is you could juggle, so you could do air juggling, like you do in a lot of like popular fighting games. So once you got someone in the air, you could actually execute certain attacks where you could actually do a lot of damage to them in the air before they even landed. This is just like an arena where you can practice against a robot. Boy, it's taking a long time for that robot to respawn.
Can you see me?
You can see there I was hitting him in the air. Flaming jacket. Yeah, so there's an attack where you can jump up in the air and then actually be moving one direction and then execute that flaming, whatever she says, flaming jacket, and turn the camera and kind of fly out of the air back down with your feet at a different direction. So a super cool game. It's too bad that didn't take off more, but it was a really, really fun game. One of the better games I've played in the past 15 years, probably. There's so many video games out there nowadays, it's actually crazy. But I'm going to have to get to bed, guys. It's late. So I just want to talk a little bit, just to kind of, like I said, this video title I think was perfect. MMO Ramblings, me just rambling about different MMOs. I don't know what I'm going to do upcoming. I am going to play Black Desert on and off, but I probably won't stream a lot of it. Although I did get the one comment just now where the guy commented on my video here that he wanted to see me play more Black Desert. So, you know, maybe we'll do that. Or you can see me fighting. Is it cool? It's such a beautiful game, Black Desert. Interesting too that when you have the UI hidden, it darkens the look. Like when I show the UI, the game will actually brighten up, which is kind of interesting.
Kind of getting caught up there.
Yeah,
it's getting dark out here.
I got stuck in between the mobs there. But the other thing too about Black Desert, you can see it even in this video, the enemy AI is absolutely awful. And I think that's one of the things that I talked about it before, but to me, like MMOs, the two big ways that MMOs need to improve is, actually, I'm surprised I even got 5 likes on here. That's pretty cool. And then you got poor Gory saying miss Mr. Wow streams. Oh man. But yeah, it's the enemy. I think the two big ways that they could really improve MMOs is, number one for me is really AI, because the AI in these games are so poor, and I'd love to see you know, enemies have a lot better AI and make encounters a lot more difficult, and just regular mobs too, not just boss mobs. I'd love to see every mob have a lot better AI, and be able to call for help, to have, or to be able to heal themselves. I think that's a mechanic that's not used. The last time I can really remember mobs healing themselves, I mean, obviously there's casters and MMOs that will do it, but the Murlocs, if you guys remember the Murlocs in World of Warcraft, sorry, my phone's blowing up. The Murlocs in World of Warcraft over in the you know, the lumber camp, Eastvale Lumber, where that lumber camp is in Elwyn Forest, they actually in Classic added the mechanic where they can drink potions and heal up. I don't think that was in the original vanilla game. And you'll see it a lot more even in the retail version of WoW, where the Murlocs actually pop potions and heal themselves, which can be pretty funny, actually. And also pretty intimidating if you've got a couple of Murlocs back there casting at you, and then you just happen to have a couple melee that you're killing, drink potions. But I think AI is one area that they can really improve, and it will make a huge difference in the gameplay experience. Also, the other way I'm thinking that they're going to go is really VR. I think VR has a potential to be a game changer if it's done correctly. Like when you think about, really standing up at home, and you're like standing up in like and you got a harness around your waist to prevent you from falling over, and you have like some sort of controllers in your hands or some sort of interface that you're actually wearing the headset and you're actually in the world. So like when you're fighting, you would choose to turn it on or off. So you'd say, well, if I could fight with a keyboard or a joke controller, or maybe I want to fight in a way that I have to actually kind of swing my arm to swing my sword at the enemy. And then also if I want to walk from town to town, like right here as I'm walking in my house, when I'm standing up on this kind of contraption that's going to track what I'm doing, I would actually have to be moving my feet forward. So I think it'd be really cool just in the way that people can get some exercise while they're playing MMOs, because people spend a lot of hours playing MMOs, and it'd be really cool if you could actually get some exercise. I know I'd love to lose a few pounds, and I'm not that heavy, but it'd be nice to just get some exercise while you're sitting around.
Get caught up in some terrain.
While you're playing an MMO. And I think it would be a lot more immersive, too, to actually have to, to interact in that way. When did I turn the UI back on? Because
she looks very dark, but she actually doesn't look quite that dark.
Yeah, you can see when I turn the UI, it brightens up.
I mean, she does look dark. I went with kind of a grayish, darker skin, but
look at how good the graphics. Look at how beautiful the moon looks. Black Desert's just such a beautiful game. It's too bad they couldn't. Like, if you could take a game like really, like Black Desert has a lot of things in it that would be perfect for like the perfect MMO, right? Like some of the world, so the level design is really good, the art style is really good, the graphics are great, the weather systems are fantastic. There's thunderstorms in Black Desert with like loud thunder and lightning bolts and stuff, which is super cool. And then the combat's good. We talked about it. It's great. It could be a lot better. And I think the reason it's not that great mostly is because the enemy AI is really poor. It's very, people talk about grinding in Black Desert and they want to be able to just like one shot big packs of mobs and move to the next one. How can that be exciting if you're just like walk up to a group of mobs, boom, dead. Walk up to another, boom, dead. How is that exciting? How is that fun? I don't understand that at all. But to take some of the aspects of Black Desert and put it into a different game where the mob AI would be a lot better, the hitbox detection would be a lot better, and it'd be a lot more difficult. You couldn't just wave meekly in the direction of your opponent and always hit them. And then of course put some really cool PvP elements in there. Put some really cool like PvE groups and dungeons and group play with CC and really intelligent bosses that don't do the same things every time. It's something that's really missing from MMOs.
As you can see, it's a beautiful night.
Something that's missing from MMOs these days.
Yeah.
So I'm talking,
beams in the air, I guess.
watching myself talk. This is pretty sad. But I love the little bit of buildings. The artwork is really nice in Black Desert. Really, it's funny whenever I watch myself play a game, especially a game that has an action combat system. I always feel like when I'm playing it, I'm kind of moving around, and and I'm playing okay. I'm playing at a pretty good pace. But then whenever I watch myself, I'm always in my mind thinking, why am I taking so long to engage these enemies? Why am I not moving faster? And a lot of the reasons I know the answer is because I just don't want to tire out myself out. If I constantly am moving at super fast speed and constantly moving back to back, it actually just kind of your hands kind of get tired, to be honest. And being that I play games a lot more relaxed, I just don't play that way anymore. But I'm sure if you see some of the top end grinders, they probably have no wasted movement. They're probably just moving, in circles and planned paths that they follow, and they're just boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I think the TTK, the time to kill, is definitely gotten really bad. And like I played so much World of Warcraft. On on private servers that I can tell you for sure that most of the encounters on my paladin usually take can take the time to kill for one mob of my level usually took about 15 to 15 to 25 seconds, which is a long time. When you think about it here, I could go up and kill a mob pack of like 6-7 people, probably in about 8 to 10 seconds. Just depends. Like it's probably going to take about 15 seconds here, but that's because I'm just kind of taking my time and I'm not trying to do it super fast. But you can see these mobs are going down fairly quick, but I'm just moving around a lot. And I'm really, when I play Black Desert, I'm kind of enjoying the landscape and the world. And I'm kind of looking around and it's like, wow, look at the beautiful hills and the mountains and the moon. And I'm not trying to like just blow these mobs away. I'm being pretty lackadaisical. And I'm also trying a lot of different combat types of things. I'm trying different movements and different like key combinations of skills to see if there's any new tricks I can figure out. I'm always kind of experimenting with the combat system. But I think MMOs nowadays definitely are going the wrong direction. Instead of making combat like making the games easier for people, they should be making games harder for people. And remember like Dark Souls is a very popular game series, right? Well, it's not popular because it's easy. It's probably popular because it's really difficult. Uh, and I've talked about it many, many times, and yeah, I don't know. I think, but really the AI in this game is pretty awful. Like I can like move, around mobs and pretty much, like I could wait just long enough where I know he's kind of locked into me and he's going to make an attack towards me, but he hasn't done it yet, and then I can move around him and literally stand there for about 3 seconds, and he'll still swing the other direction where I was. That just shows you how bad the AI is. So, but again, you just can't argue with the fact that this is a super beautiful, super beautiful game. Let's take a look at. I thought I was downloading it. Did it not install? Why is this even open? Hmm. Wow, I don't even know. Login, Dragonet on Steam. Which login? I guess let's say forgot password. And let's see. Oh, I don't want to. I'm not going to log in. Yeah, well, let's find it. Let's see. I'm sure I probably have an account. I know I've played this game before. Crap, what's my password for? Shit, I don't remember. Hold on a second. Wait, I think I know what it is. Aha, I was correct. All right, I'm changed my password. So I do have an account. I knew I did. I know I played this game a long time ago. Yeah. Would you believe I just forgot what I typed in over here? Oh, shit. Hold on a second. Verification email. Okay. It looks like they had an account that was outside of Steam, and now they're trying to transfer the accounts over to Steam. And the traditional Nexon loader. You know, all their games look like this, like Vindictus and stuff. They all have this same kind of, you know, look to them. Anyways, I'm gonna get to bed, guys. I'm tired. And Cyrilin. Yeah, the put off work in making intricate combat systems, but combat is over. Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I think I don't know. There's so many things I'd love to see made in MMOs. I mean, I've talked about it enough, and I've got my own notes on kind of the things I'd put into my own MMO, and there's just, you know, I think there's just so many things that aren't in the MMOs nowadays that could be in. And like I said, Black Desert, I think, obviously had issues because it's pay to win. There's a lot of different systems there that just make it very grindy. But also the game itself has it's like too much to do. I mean, when you go into Black Desert as a new player, you're like just inundated with a lot of things, a lot of information, and it's really difficult. Like if you go into Black Desert and you tell someone, just go make me go use alchemy and make me some potions, they'd have no idea how to do it. I think one of the worst things about Black Desert is I want to show it to you really quick, is I keep procrastinating, it's 2:27 a.m. is the potion system is really, I mean, the crafting system is really like not helpful to the player. Look at my cat there, just kind of like, hey, what's up? Yeah, and I still need to take a shower too before I jump in bed. But the crafting system in Black Desert, like if you were a new player and you were to come in and you were just to say, oh, I want to craft, you'd have to hit the L key is the best way to do it, to bring up your processing or crafting window. And these are all the different things you can do: chop, dry, filtering, heating, simple alchemy, simple cooking, imperial. I mean, there is a lot of stuff, but like, how would you even know what to do? Like, you can see here that when I go to simple cooking, this becomes available to me, like the unusual fruit. But when I put it in the window, right, it doesn't really, it's annoying me. It doesn't really, it says it's used for Stonetail fodder. So basically, you have to discover every recipe. Like, you have to like either go through a quest that tells you like this, and this will make this, or you have to just throw stuff in here, kind of like Skyrim, and just try to craft something and see if it makes something. In most cases, it won't. So then you're going online trying to find like guides on what can I craft. And there are some things that, like these things that I've crafted, that tells you what they need. I can't remember if these things were even here when I first played the game, or if these are just things I've learned through all my years of playing, because this is used by all your characters. So everything you learn, like if I learn a cooking recipe on this character right here, and then I go log into another character and open this window up, it'll be here because I learned it, you know. So that's why you have a family name, you know. Like if you look at if you go to the guild here, I'm in a guild on my character, right? Well, I joined the guild on one character, but when I go in, it says Hax Shyborn. Shyborn's this character's name, but my family name is Hax. And so all my characters are automatically in this guild. Once one of my characters gets invited to the guild, then they're all in the guild. And everything you do, almost everything you do, is going to be helpful to all of the characters, you know, on your account. I love these little guys carrying these little kids walking around with these black ghosts. It's so cool, these little kites. This is also the same town that has this building up here that I find for whatever reason to be very interesting. I just think this is a neat building. I mean, this is one of the things I can do in Black Desert, is just log in and literally just walk around. I mean, the world is so beautiful in Black Desert that I don't even have to do anything other than just walk around and explore, and I actually have a blast because it's so well made. I mean, the people who made this game, the artists and designers, should be getting like an award from somebody because it's just unbelievable, you know. Let's try this. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Let's see how is this. So that's it, guys. Yeah, I am gonna go to bed. So I'll see you guys later. Hope everybody has a good night, and I will talk to you again soon. I don't know what I'm gonna play in the days coming up, but I'll continue to talk about MMOs and play MMOs, and until something comes out that really grabs my attention. Whether that's going to be, you know, Burning Crusade, World of Warcraft, which I'm sure I'll play, or just something entirely new. I can tell you what I would like. I would like to play a new MMO, something that's brand new, that's really good. But I just don't see anything coming that really fits that, unfortunately. So it's really sad, and it makes me sad. It makes me very sad. That's just the way it is. I will check you guys later, and I hope you're all having a good time, like I said. And bye.